Welcome to Mother's Narrative Network. Before we begin, please like and subscribe for more daily uploads. Hope you enjoy today's video. Reassure me, what's the worst thing your DCS have said in public? Part 2. DS used to shout help loudly and repeatedly as I pushed him around town. DD2 was walking down the aisle at Tesco behind a larger lady, top of voice wow. Wide load ahead. Back up and reversed up the aisle beeping like a lorry. LOL at these. My DD, when she was 2, saw an old lady hobbling along and shouted to me, she'll be dead soon, won't she? We were out having lunch and I said to DD3, do you think Daddy will be out in the garden putting the plants in? No silly, she replied loudly, he'll be sitting on his arse on his computer again. She was right, by the way. When giving a rather prim ex-head teacher friend of my mum's a lift in my car, my then 4-year-old DD1 spied a police car and yelled, look out mum, here come the pigs. I still don't know where she picked that up. Then there was the time we were in the line waiting to go into nursery and DS2 again. I don't know why I am not grey-haired with the stress of looking after him, pipes up, see Mrs. X, nursery teacher. Well, her husband is a murderer. All the parents looked up, and he continued, he murdered our dog. He chopped it up into little bits and stuck it in a big hole he'd dug on the golf course. You know, the big golf course in St. Andrews. Of course none of it was true. Mrs. XSDH was a vet who'd had the sad job of putting our much-loved dog to sleep 4 weeks previously. DD1 sitting in the car when another car hits my wing mirror. Man who hit it comes up to my car, and DD1 asks him, man, are you the baby Jesus? I just couldn't think why she had asked him this until the next time I was in a car incident and shouted, oh Jesus. DD1 still talks about the day baby Jesus hit our car. DP took DD1, swimming and got mortified in the changing rooms, when everyone could hear her exclaiming loudly, Daddy, you have a wobbly bottom. We were at one of those wooden parks and DS1, got a splinter in his hand. I was trying to remove it and he was screaming, I want to live, rather hysterically. DS2, always asks me rather loudly in public toilets if I'm having a wee or a poo, always a wee by the way, and when I'm finished says, good boy mammy. Last week, walking behind 2 women, DS4, said, loudly, I really like that lady's dress, and she has pretty shoes too. Said lady turned round and beamed at complimentary, cute, curly-haired small child. At which point, he pointed at her friend and said, but I don't like yours so much as you have a big, fat bottom. Just lovely. DS3 pointed at me and sternly declared, in the loudest voice possible, you're not my mother. Sainsbury's. When about 2-ish still had trouble pronouncing L. Liked clocks though. Shopping center, mummy. Look at that big clock. I can see a big clock. Just think how much mortification you are all going to be able to cause when you retell these stories to your DCS girlfriends or boyfriends, or even better, in the speeches at their weddings. Revenge is a dish best served cold. I've told this story before, but we were at York Station, when DS1 was about 3 or 4, and a man smoking a pipe sat down next to us. The conversation went as follows, DS1, what is that in your mouth, man? Man, it's a pipe. DS1, what are you doing with it, man? Man, I am smoking it. DS1, you are going to die. That's when we ruled out a career in the diplomatic service for the lad. DD is 6, so we have plenty of opportunity for this sort of thing. The worst time was when we were in the supermarket, when she was about 4.5, and we were buying a 4-pack of beer for DH. DD pipes up in her loudest voice, Daddy like beer doesn't he mummy, to which I agreed. She says, but sometimes it makes him a bit sick doesn't it? I was very embarrassed, and an old bloke walking past and who had OBV. Heard the whole exchange, just smiled and said out of the mouth of babes The worst thing is that Daddy was sick once on beer, but he'd come home from a stag do a bit worse for wear, been sick and woken her up with the noise. He can't be sick quietly. So he's not the complete pisshead this makes him out to be at all. DS1 was 2. DS2 was a baby. We were also renovating our house. Tries hard to recreate the stress we were under. Nursery teacher, how was your weekend? DS1, we went to the Orange hardware store. That's B&Q, and Mummy said Daddy was a ducking arse. Nursery teacher, ooh, that's nice. DS aged 7 asking a sixth former if he had a girlfriend, to which the poor boy blushed and said no. DS then pipes up, go on, you can tell me. I bet you have a boyfriend instead. Poor lad didn't know where to put himself. Even better, in school age 4, when the teacher asks how do you tell someone to go away if they shouldn't be talking to you, DS you tell them to sod off. Teacher tells me she had to leave the room, she was laughing so much. DS aged 3, what on earth has that funny colored man done to his skin? DS aged 2 favorite reply, oh duck. Much embarrassment here. DS1 was about 4, his 15 on Monday, and we were in church one Sunday morning. He was sitting at the front with the Sunday school nursery class, and DH and I were about halfway up the aisle while my PIL was sitting up the back. The minister was standing in front of the Sunday school giving his children's talk, when DS gets off his seat, stands in front of the minister and shouts, Mummy, I need a poo. The congregation roared with laughter while my MIL ran up the aisle to take DS out to the toilet. The minister was helpless for quite a while, and his wife sat with her shoulders shaking for the rest of the service. DS has never been allowed to forget this one. Out for the day with 5-year-old Didi and school friends. A group of ladies dressed in burqas walked past. Small girls start discussing the attire. Loudly and with great authority Didi informs the other girls that those ladies are all lesbians, my mummy told me. Mummy had shown her photos of our Middle East holiday, including a lovely Lebanese lady tour guide. When my DS was in reception, I used to help out in his class one day a week. One day they had a supply teacher in, and after break she got out a book to read them a story. Before she did, she told them a bit about the author and said she was a granny when she wrote this book, to which one of the kids piped up, like you. DS is pretty non-verbal ATM, but he does say a few things, mostly car, tractor etc. However, one unfortunate phrase he has picked up is wanna ride, as in would you like to go on the ride on toy. This morning we went shopping, and he chased an elderly gentleman through the shopping center yelling wanna ride. Wanna ride, as the man was in an electric wheelchair. Oh goodness, I am weeping with laughter. DS, aged 5 at the time, local police representative comes to school. Burglary comes up in conversation. Policeman made comment about locking front doors and keeping safe. DS pipes up with great authority, you must lock the back door too and the windows. The policeman commented how sensible my son was, to which he responded, yeah well the back windows are the easiest to jimmy open with a screwdriver, then mummy can boost you through the window to go and unlock the front door as long as the keys are there. We were locked out of our own house and my husband was away when this happened. Have since met the very nice policeman, who said he told everyone at the station about the junior master criminal. Oh, just remembered another one. DH took his van to go help a friend move some stuff, and took DS with him. DS must have been about 5. Friend gets in the van, and DS turns to friend and says Dad says you're a bloody pain in the arse, always wanting to use his van. DH just laughed and said I didn't say that. QDS, yes you did Daddy, you said he was a pain and you were going to charge people for using your van. When out shopping with DS, 2.5, he amuses himself by farting very loudly, and the pointing at me saying ha ha, mummy farted, charming child. Oh, that's reminded me of another police one. The community officers came to DD1's infant school to give a talk about their work. And the end, nobody asked any questions except DD1, who after much thinking, piped up, "So, do you like donuts then?" I knew I shouldn't have let her watch The Simpsons. Not me, thankfully, but a dear friend. She had a clash with a form teacher, and became quite irate when discussing it with her DH that evening. It was an ongoing saga. She thought that DCs were out of earshot. The following day her DS told the teacher that his mummy thought that she'd had a really good thumping with the ugly stick. Not my DS thankfully, but when I was about 18 in pub with boyfriend. Boyfriend came back from toilets with massive grin on his face, and said that little boy over there just turned round to his dad, when we were both at the urinals, and shouted really loudly, "Why has that man got a bigger willy than you, Dad? Why Dad? Why Dad? Why aren't you answering me?" Cue lots of hysterical giggling by me and boyfriend and him trying to show me which man it was. I feel really sorry for the dad now that I have my own 3 monsters. DD, about 5, spotted a woman suffering from dwarfism and said in a very loud voice, "Look at that little girl, mummy. Hasn't she got very fat legs and the most enormous bottom?" I tried to drag her away, and started to explain that the woman was in fact an adult, to which DD replied, "Really? You could have fooled me." Another time my friend and I were driving into town with DS in the back seat of the car. A huge tipper truck came along the narrow country road, taking up both sides, not slowing down, and almost ran us off the road. I shouted, "You stupid bastard, you nearly killed us." Then another truck came straight after that, and DS said, "Ooh no mummy, 2 bastards." My friend nearly wet herself laughing. I didn't know what to say. Part of me was proud, because he added to 2. Part of me was because I try not to swear in front of the kids. So, I just said, "Good counting, darling." That is what my friend remembers most about my DS being a toddler. Haven't laughed so much for ages. DD, 3, in the lift at the hospital, only the 2 of us and one other lady. DD pipes up, "Is that what a scarecrow looks like, mummy?" Needless to say, I got out of the left at the next level. The other day in M&S food hall, me, after we're done shopping, "What do you fancy doing?" DD, 3, "I want to go to the pub." I should point out that the village pub has a lovely family garden, and that we sometimes take the kids there on a Saturday tea time. I'm not some crazy booze hound dragging her neglected children all over town in search of cheap vodka. Well, not often anyway. And the cringiest one either of them have ever come out with was in a very crowded motorway service station toilet. I'd brought the kids into the cubicle with me and, pulling my knickers down, I realized that my period had come upon me all of a sudden. Before I could do anything, DS, 3, in the loudest voice I have ever heard him use, "What's that in your knickers, mummy? Is it jam?" When I was at uni, a friend of mine had to bring his DS into a lecture, as the childminder had called in sick at the last minute. DS, "Daddy, this is boring. Could we go and do a bit more pooing together instead?" DS, aged 4 at the time, "Mummy, that lady looks like the Joker in Batman. She was wrinkly." He later said, again DS, "Old people need sticks." DD1, "Because they are very old and can't walk." Again DS, "In a shop, mummy, look at that fat man." I agree, the man was very large, but he said it right next to him and pointed. DD1, on the bus, aged 3 at the time, "That man in front of me smells. He might have trumped and not said excuse me." DD1, in a shopping queue, "That man has a willy, doesn't he, mummy? And you have a front bottom and big boobies, don't you, mummy?" DD1, at nursery last week, now aged 4, retold Throga teacher, "My mummy has milk in her boobies. I have the milk in my breakfast, it tastes yummy." God, too many to list them all, but they are the best that come to mind right now. We were sitting next to 2 wig-wearing old ladies in a cafe. DD piped up very loudly, "Look at the granny's funny hair. Look at that man's hat," full volume DS, whilst pointing at a bloke with an obvious wig. Oh God, my DC have both said so many embarrassing things over the years, it's a wonder I still go out in public. One thing that sticks in my mind was when DS started reception. DD was already in the same school, and there had been a run of letters asking for money for this, that and the other. It was January, so things were tight, after Christmas, and I was getting fed up of getting these letters, so was moaning to Dee about it. A couple of days later DS came marching out of class, waving a letter above his head and shouting, "Look mum, they want more bloody money off us." The letter turned out to be about something completely different. That was mortifying enough, but I was talking to my friend later, who is also a TA in reception, and she told me that when she handed the letters out, DS had shouted, "Oh, I'm getting fed up of this. What do you want money for now?" My friend said that the teacher had to leave the room as she was laughing so much. I've also had the public toilets thing with both of them. Are you doing a wee or a poo, mummy? Why do you have rope coming out of your bits, mummy? Good girl, mummy, along with a round of applause. This was when potty training Dee. And not the DC, so slightly off topic, but DH. Dee and I were in a shop when Dee was about 18 months old. We were trying to look at something and Dee was lying on the floor in front of us tantruming. DH looks down at Dee and says, "Dee, get up now, or I'll kick you in the head." Cue a loud tut and a look of total and utter disgust from an old lady stood next to us. DH had meant, "If you don't get up I may accidentally kick you in the head." But obviously it didn't come across like that. Thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed the video. Before you go, please like, comment, and subscribe for more daily uploads.